Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to your Lake Fork Guide. Another episode of the Guides Network. You know, those of you guys that know me and follow along the channel, y'all know that I absolutely love to sight fish. It's that time of year. We're doing a lot of sight fishing right now. So today on the Guides Network, of course, we're going to talk to you guys about sight fishing. Here's the deal. I've had a couple guys come on with me over the last couple years when it was sight fishing time, and they gave some great advice and tips. And I love to sight fish, and I think I know a lot about it because I spend a lot of time doing it. But these two guys are also very well adept at sight fishing and had some great tips to offer. So what I'm going to do is a little bit of a mashup video today between the last 2 years sight fishing instructional Guides Network episodes. We're going to take the highlights out of those, mash them all together to give you guys what I believe will be the best sight fishing instructional video ever made. So you guys stay tuned. Oh, where you at? Okay. About to get down and dirty on that. Got it. That's a good one. I mean, that's a good one. Get over the side if you can. Looking at old Shimano and that Dobbin's over. Come on. Big old female. Oh, fat girl. She's a little bigger than we thought. Look at that gut, son. That's a big one right there, baby. What about it? She's way bigger than we thought she was. Way bigger. Talk us through what's going on here, Zach. We just pulled in on this one. He's only made just the first couple pitches to it. What's going on here, buddy? 4 or 5 boats have come down this bank. But when I'm looking for beds, man, I want those beds that I can barely see. You know, if me and you can barely see them, the normal people that are fishing out here, you know, they just don't know what to look for. Usually they look for a big orange spot or something. This fish, it takes a lot of time to learn how to pick them out of that deeper water, doesn't it? Yeah, this fish actually, I went across the bed and I just seen her move off, spun the boat around and flipped in there, and she come right in on it. So, you know, that's a good sign. And of what I look for is this fish ain't really been fished for much. Like that. She was carrying it out, holding you in my pants. Yeah, hold on. Zach Hughes, you're in my britches, son. Yeah, she had the bait off. She was carrying it off. Yeah, she's so aggressive. She's so aggressive that, you know, she ain't been fished for all day. The wind just died down. Boats have been down this bank. I mean, we've watched. But there's no way you'd see that fish with the wind that's been coming through here today. I don't think that you could have. No, not at all. And that's a key to finding these bigger fish that'll bite. There's bedfish all down here, but how many of them got holes in their mouth? And you know, we want the ones that ain't been fished for. This fish probably been here all day, but to the naked eye, you know, they would have never seen this fish. We about to see her. I got faith in you, brother. There she is. There it is. Easy as you please, right there. Yep, that's a little 3-pounder. Oh. She's all yours, sir. She's pretty. Look at the color on her. She's a pretty fish. Pretty little Lake Fork bass. But that just goes to show you finding them deeper beds. I mean, we've watched 4 or 5 boats go down this bank. Oh, there's been several. And they just never seen us. Tell us about it. How'd you get, like, what? I know you like to do it. I know it's something you really love to do. Talk to us a little bit about sight fishing. Well, sight fishing, I started sight fishing in tournaments. You know, I felt like if I could go out and get 5 of the right bites, even if I got 5 bites, I could beat a guy that caught 30 or 40 fish. And you know,
if I could have 3 or 4 days to find, you know, a 25-pound bag, or on fork when I was fishing tournaments out here, a 10, 11, 12-pound bag.
Of hundreds, right.
You
Maybe
know,
find one over that you're sure is an over, yeah.
It was going to be hard for them to beat me. And,
absolutely. You get to kind of pick and choose which ones you're targeting. Yeah.
If I could see them before, you know, tournament day, I knew my route, and I wasn't the guy out there catching 30 fish, but all of them be 1 pound. Now, tournament fishing is a numbers game, don't get me wrong. This time of year, though, I would rather get 6 key bites versus 30 bites and
be more selective
and put a sack together.
Let's talk about the actual plastic baits that we're using. What do you like to go with?
I like a creature bait, something compact that, you know, if the fish does bite it, the hook's going to cover the bait.
One of them is a 3/8 ounce jig. I like a 3/8 ounce jig, but I trim it up, make it really compact, and I want it to look like a brim. See, that's kind
the
of brim
compact
color.
deal, you know, it just, a big deal with bed fishing is you want to make sure they get it in their mouth.
Everything that you use
You
on
don't want
bed fish
anything
needs
too
to be
big.
really tight and compact,
Yeah,
because
that's
they
a
will
big
tend
deal.
to bite the back end of it. That's right. So there's the first thing you use, just a simple old 3/8 ounce jig. That's, for me, that's the 6 cents hybrid jig, Divine hybrid jig right there, and a smash crawl for the trailer.
And you know, we're talking about the jig. One of my favorite things about a jig, and a lot of times I'll throw a jig with rattles, and I can keep the head still and shake the rod, and that skirt's got so much movement, and it just irritates when if I've got rattles on it, now I've got the skirt and I've got the rattles.
Yeah, anything that you can make move, and that skirt's kind of always moving.
Exactly.
Anything that'll move without actually moving out of the bed is great for sight fishing. But you were rigging it a little bit different style, so show them that.
Yeah, so let me show you how to do this. You know, on these these bodies are a little bit wide, but they're real narrow. So, you know, instead of just rigging it the traditional way, which is with the little V groove, putting the hook in it through the groove and then putting it back, you know, to where it sits like this. I don't know if you guys can see this, but instead of doing it like this, what I like to do is come at it from the side, you know. It's just a little bit different.
I've never seen anybody do that until I saw
So
you do it.
I come from the side. Can you guys see this? I come at it on the skinny side, and then what I'll do, I'll thread it up my bait, and I want to get it up here. And then instead of going all the way through that half-inch wide body, I just go kind of towards the end. And what it does is it
get that on the other side so they can see that.
I get it right about here.
And put that right up in the
I'll get this in here and show you guys. I get it right here, and it just gives me a little bit more meat. My hook's not. I'm not worried about my hook coming out of this little seam right here. You know, you want to get that bait straight, and the reason the bait's straight, it's not. A lot of people think, well, the bait's crooked, the fish will see it and they'll go, oh, it's not real. It's so it falls right. That's the main thing. But I've been hooking my bait like this for a long time, not necessarily because it helps me catch more fish, but it keeps my hook secured a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then, if you guys can see, it pushes
Most
through
things are
really easy.
notorious for splitting down the middle when you hook them the traditional way. So.
I'm a big believer in that it's not necessarily what bait you're throwing, it's how that fish is positioned, what her attitude is, you know, if you can stay back off of her. I know I've said it before today, but we watched 15 boats go down a stretch of bank, all of them looking, and then we went right in behind them and found fish that were a little bit deeper, had a little better attitude as far as not being caught before. And that's the key. I'm not a big stickler on baits. I use kind of the same baits all the time, but it's not necessarily the bait. I tell people all the time, back in a pond a long time ago, a guy bet me $100 I couldn't catch a fish on a Cheeto on a bed. And I hooked a Cheeto on a bed, on a Texas rig, and threw in there and caught the fish. So that just goes to show you, it's
100% agreement.
It's not necessarily what bait you're throwing, but just watch that fish's attitude. Go down the bank and you find a fish that doesn't spook off or doesn't run off real fast, there's a 99% chance you're gonna catch that fish. You just gotta get set up on her right, find out what she likes. Does she like it hopping? Does she like it still? Does she like it hitting her in the side? You know, you
really got to read them and pay attention because they're all different.
This is a big key, and I'll tell you, if you're not doing this, I see a lot of people don't, but how I rig mine up, this is a Mr. Twister Buzz Bug and Okeechobee Crawl, Texas rig. If I'm fishing thick cover, I'll peg it. This one is not pegged, and the only reason it's not because I want that bead doing this. When that bait is on that bed and you're twitching it with your rod, that bead is constantly making noise, and it's attracting that fish. You may have a spooky fish that gets out there and sits, you know, 2 or 3 feet off the bed because she's been caught. It's colder. You know, but then when she hears that clacking, it kind of gets her attention. So that's a little trick that I use on my baits, just to get them honed in to where the bait is.
This is one tool that I do use, and this is just a 5-inch stick bait. This is the one we've been throwing, the Smash Tech Smash Stick. And I will, if I've got one that I really want to catch and she's really big like you were talking about, if she won't respond to anything before I bail on her, I'll back off a good ways, a good long cast from her, and just soak this bait around that bed. And I'm not actually really sight fishing at that point. I kind of am, because I know where she is and I'm throwing to that spot repeatedly. But that is sometimes that weightless presentation, that more subtle presentation. If it's a fish that means a lot to you in a tournament, it's a personal best potentially, and you really want to take your time and try to catch her, can't get her to respond, that's a good way to try and kind of tease her into biting, right?
Anytime you get a fish that really won't respond. I know we did it Sunday with my guys. We found some fish that were real big. It was cold that morning. The water temperature went from 63 down to 58. They were just acting lethargic, and I kind of pulled out in the middle of the pocket we were fishing, and we just started blind casting to the beds, and we caught a couple fish doing that. And that just goes to show you back off of them a little bit.
Sometimes just letting them get a little more comfortable.
Oh, they know you're there.
Yeah.
And I mean, we got some footage earlier that 10-pounder, she was hard for us to see, but we knew where she was. And I'm a big believer in, if they can't see you, you know, that's always good. If you can see them clear as day, they can see you clear as day. But if you kind of having trouble seeing them, you get a flash here, flash there, that's a little more difficult for them to see you. So that's another key, is don't get right up on top of the fish. They know you're there.
High-speed reels, because you know what? Here's the deal.
Important.
I tell my customers this. You got to remember this. When you stick this fish, dude, he's only got one way to go. He can't go that way because that's land.
Yeah, he's
got to come at you.
Yeah.
So you got to take that rod up. That's a big rod. You got to be able to pick that slack up, and you got to have a little bit of backbone. Those 7.4, 7.2, medium heavy, a little bit of a moderate action. It's all about taking that line up and not letting that fish get control of you.
And there's only one line type that I use for this, 20-pound fluorocarbon, every time.
Yeah. Now I'll say this: I use 20-pound fluoro 90% of the time. The water's a little bit clearer. If I'm fishing a high-pressure lake,
yeah,
I'm talking to the tournament anglers.
For
the
East
guys
Texas, it's 24, but somewhere else
right.
maybe not. Yeah.
For where we're at these you know, kind of swampy lakes,
Silty.
Lake Palestine, Lake Fork, these guys like that. These lakes like that, they've got timber in them. They've got laydowns, reeds everywhere. You need something pretty heavy. I'll even go to braid a lot of times on big fish, but you definitely can go down and you can throw that Texas rig. We're kind of talking about baits and stuff. You throw that Texas rig on a spinning rod.
Yeah.
You know, when it's pressured, if you guys are fishing tournaments and you're in some clear water lakes in the Metroplex area or something like that, you can go down to a small Texas rig or a small shaggy head and use a crawl bait on that 10, 12, 15-pound line and kind of finesse them a little bit, you know.
You know, and I know you'll probably agree with this, but we're sitting here talking about some different baits we throw, and I'm going to tell you, the bait you throw really doesn't matter. It needs to be a couple things.
It doesn't matter.
It needs to have some moving appendages, and it needs to be short. It needs to be compact. Other than that, guys, literally any brand, there's no brand that's better than another, and I hope my sponsors don't kick me off.
No, it's a confidence deal, man.
Here's the deal, man. It doesn't matter because it's so much more about reading that fish's behavior, and let's go ahead and segue into that now. You know, that's what it's all about. What that fish's attitude is, you understanding that fish's attitude, knowing how hard you can push him, how fast you can catch him, and if you're going to have to take your time. And for me, it starts as when I first see him. The first time I begin to break that down. And, you know, we just cruise down the bank. We put the trolling motor on about 1/2 to 3/4 speed, and we're going down the bank pretty quick. Now, if I can buzz that fish's tower and he stays on his bed, and even if he leaves, but he turns around and it comes right back like that, I mean, I'm going to tell you, that fish...
It tells you a lot about
that fish. Isn't aware. He's not aware of it yet, but he's got a new hole to his head coming.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's done. He's caught.
Get it put to
yeah, he's caught. So, now, a lot of times they'll leave, but I'll watch the speed at which they leave. If you come up on them and you're not even going that fast on the trolling motor, and that fish pew, kicks up a cloud of dust and he's gone, I never even turn back and look at him again.
I'll tell you something else I'll do. Is I'll take like a bobber and maybe a 1 ounce weight, some kind of weight that I can tie a line to, and get just a little trot line or braid or something like that, and get me 3 or 4 foot of slack. And when I see one, and especially if it's a big one, and I'll mark it. I won't throw it right on the bed, you know, but I'll throw it a foot or two to the right of the bed. Yeah. And then what I can do is I can take a big cove and I can come through and I can mark all the fish that I want to catch, and I turn around and blind cast to them before I ever set up on
get up on them. That's brilliant, actually. That's really good.
These big fish, guys, if you're out there and you're on Fork or you're on any of these East Texas lakes or some of these lake lakes, you're going to see some of these big ones kind of swim off and not come back for a minute. And they're going to sit there, going to watch you. That's why it's important not stop. You know,
Don't stop.
I
Never
tell
stop.
people
Just keep
don't
going.
run up to a fish and hit the brakes. Keep going. Let them think that you're
Every
running
time.
out of sight, out of mind. Let them think.
And
that
then the
you're
next
going.
time I come in, like I said, be real cautious.
right.
Turn the trolling motor down. Get as far away as you can get. Still see that bed. Maybe see a shadow. If you got power poles dropping down, if not,
Some of the
stop
biggest fish I've ever caught off the bed, I haven't been able to see the fish. I've just
Absolutely.
been able to see some sort of a bed. And I get it in there, and they've forgotten I was even there, and they bite it on the first pitch.
Always pitch past the fish. Never throw it right on it. That's one of the
Right.
worst things
That's
you
a
can
big
do.
deal.
The worst things you can do is dive bomber. You know, if you make that pitch and you feel like that pitch is going to be short or maybe be on it, man, stop it and jerk it. Get it.
Yep.
Don't let it hit. And then as you're working up to, when I make my first few pitches, I want to work that bait. If I can, I want to pitch it to a line and work that bait to where it's going to go, just with as close as I can, but in front of their head.
Right.
I don't want to hit them at first.
Yeah.
I want to work that bait and get it to where it slides up right in front of them and see if they'll come into it.
It's important.
See, and that's part of me reading their behavior. You know what I'm saying? So when you get that bait in front of them, they'll come up to it. And now you've got them. If they back off, you know you got to be a little tender with this one, right? So you're going to have to tease her in to come in, get her a little more locked in before you get aggressive
Yeah.
with her. And then once I've got her to where she will come to that bait a little bit, when she'll nudge forward and nudge on it, now where I want to throw that bait is I want to throw it behind her a good
Right.
ways, and I want to try to work it up to what I call her ear hole.
It's
It's
a
the
lot
gill
like
plate.
it's a lot like picking up chicks at the mall. The ones that are real aggressive, you can just run right up to
Yeah.
and throw your game down.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the ones that you walk up to and they back up. You just got to take a little bit more time.
That's right. Yeah, you might be able to walk up to one and be like, "Hey,
What's
you
up?
want you,
What's
you,
up,
want, you
girl?
want to hang out tonight?" And then some
But
others.
you got to be careful. There's 14 malls I'm not allowed at anymore because of the same deal. It's a big
I
deal.
mean, some of them you might have to ask if they want some cotton candy or something.
I've taken my bed fishing tactics to the Tyler Mall, and now I'm not allowed back. So I don't know. My wife doesn't know, and I don't want my girlfriend to know.
Okay. All right, so you got one. You can see it now a little bit. Is she bite already?
No, that was grass.
And now he.
She's in.
Oh yeah, she's locked in. So she's nose back into the bed. Now she swam out a little bit right there. I just saw her. She just cut out to the left.
All right, we're good. I got her.
Okay. She coming back in already? Okay, so we can see this fish. She's coming into the bait. She's wanting to bite right now, like right now. It's a pretty good fish. She's pretty long. She might be like a long, skinny 4-pounder. It's kind of hard to say exactly till you get them out of the water. She's coming in. Here she goes. See if Ronnie can get her right here. She stared it down. It's so much fun. It's such a mental game. You're playing with these fish. You're trying to read their personality and irritate them. And you can, some you can push and some you can't. And Ronnie's swinging on every piece of grass right now.
Yeah, I can't. She's when I pitch in there, she gets into the grass, and I can't see her.
Yeah. Oh, you're right on her head there, Bubba. Oh. Oh. All right, what are you thinking right now?
Huh?
What's in your head right now?
Freaking enchiladas, dude.
About this fish, what's in your head? It's about to go down.
Yeah. You know, I need her to snap at it at least once. She's not moving. I mean, she's locked on. I just got to get her to actually bite the bait.
Oh, just snapping at it. Snap. Here you go. Coming at you, folks. That's a good fish, dude.
That's not a bad one. I got her in the bottom of the lip.
Inside the mouth, though?
Oh yeah, it's in her tongue. She kept licking on it.
She kept licking on it. Hold it up for the folks at home right there.
3.5 pound fish.
That's a good fish right there, dude.
That's not bad. All right, buddy. Let her go back to doing her deal.
Well, there you go. I know you guys couldn't see every single thing that was going down right there. And good job to you. That's putting your money where your mouth is,
sir.
throwing in there and catching one on the spot like that. And found a good one that was locked in. And man, I hope these tips helped you guys today. I know sight fishing is one of my very favorite things to do. I'm addicted. I know
Very addicted.
I am very ill about.
Very addicted.
Hey, hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope this will help you get out there, get after some of them bed fish. And hey, if you like this video, hit that thumbs up. If you want to see more, be sure and subscribe. By the way, the gear we're using, linked right below in the description. We'll see you next time, right here on Your Lake Fork Guide.
You take up the whole boat.
I do. I'm a big boy, son.
You're a big boy. It's a lot like picking up chicks at the mall. But you got to be careful. There's 14 malls I'm not allowed at anymore. I've taken my bed fishing tactics to the Tyler Mall, and now I'm not allowed back. So I don't know.
But I'm going fishing with Billy Lawson today.